Welcome to Prince Shorthand House. Exercise number 97 and 98, Sir Kailash Chandra. 140 words a minute. Total 2000 words. Be ready. Start. Sir, this volume, the progress report for the year 2003-4 is before the House, and members will have discovered for themselves that this volume is replete with useful information. It consists of a large volume of facts and figures, and it is hardly necessary for me to make a lengthy introduction. This report is the basis of discussion now. I would make only one request to honorable members. They will have a lot to say about the various aspects of our economic situation and economic progress of the country. We would welcome all that. They are entitled to make an appraisal of the activities. Let it be a critical appraisal, and I hope, sir, that it will also be a fair appraisal. In doing so, we will have to think not of today, not of the conditions in which we are functioning, but we have to take our minds back to the days when the idea of a plan took shape, when the proposals that are now before us and the action that has been taken on them was conceived of. That were those conditions. It will be very easy for all of us to recall the days of an anxiety through which we were passing then. We were not sure of our food supplies for the next month. We were, as some people said, living from ship to mouth. We had a certain nervousness about our food supply. We had, on account of frantic demands from all parts of the country, to move food from one part to another and rush it to places where stocks were low. We have to import large quantities, spending large amounts of foreign exchange. We had also to give heavy subsidies, and yet people were not satisfied, and they would not be. There were controls and there were difficulties experienced by many people. The quantities consumed then were low relative to what a normal human being must consume, sir. This was the situation in respect of food and in respect of other consumer goods also. Cloth was so difficult to obtain, even to cover the minimum needs of an ordinary family. We had difficulties in other directions also, difficulties about transport and so on. And then it was in those very days that the problem of rehabilitation of displaced persons was prominent. We had started tackling it, but we had not completed that yet. Prices were rising, and so many people felt that at those high prices an average family could not subsist. There were inflationary pressures, and so anything that we could do to relieve the situation, to increase production, to spend money for making large investment, created those dangers of increasing inflation for a further rise in prices. That was the dilemma. What is the position now? When we judge of ourselves today, we should not think of today on the basis of conditions today. We determine the future and our future performance, but so far as the past is concerned, it is these conditions that determined our present. What is it? What we find today? Our major headaches have been relieved. Nobody can say that food is scarce, and nobody can say that cloth is not to be had. In the matter of transport, we have greatly improved. That our position in several other directions has also improved. For these things, it is not necessary to give any figures. The thing is there in the air, and it is a part of everybody's experience in the country that the difficulties and the anxieties have more or less gone, and that we can breathe freely and can think of the future with confidence. The chief difficulty both in industry and in agriculture was, of course, that there was not enough production. We were faced with the spectacle of high prices and scarcity of food, etc. Also, our industries were not running full capacity, existing capacities were not being utilized. In the case of several industries, we were using only a part of that capacity. Therefore, agriculture was the key to the whole situation. We must produce more raw materials in order to run our industries well. Sir, this is what we started doing. We came to the conclusion that we must do everything possible in the course of the 5 years that we had before us to bring about an increase in agricultural production to the maximum possible extent. We made up our minds that we will free ourselves from the necessity of importing food from outside countries. We wanted to be relieved of this dependence. Sir, we have succeeded in that, but for doing that we had also to decide that the major part of our resources should be applied to this sector, and we decided to increase irrigation facilities, major and minor. We decided to make programs for giving more fertilizers, manures, improved seeds and reclamation of wasteland. In all these directions we have spent some money, and we have achieved result in physical terms, and those results are very heartening. In the field of irrigation, for example, we can legitimately take a measure of pride in what has been achieved already. By the end of this year, the area irrigated by projects is expected to exceed 5 million acres. The river valley projects, which had been begun before the plan, are now making rapid progress. Work on the new river valley schemes, which were included in the plan for the first time, such as the Chambal, the Kosi and the Tungabhadra, has also begun. On the Kosi, preliminary work has been completed and construction is about to begin. Some members were anxious about Kosi. Estimates of about 7 or 8 crores of rupees have been sanctioned and all preliminary work has been completed. I may call them that in a few days construction will be taken in hand at the Kosi project. We also hope to witness the heartening spectacle of large scale public participation. Next para. Sir, as is well known, in 2012 when we passed the Delimitation Commission Act, the constituencies were formed on the basis of the census figure arrived at the last census in 2001. The census authorities at this time worked in a manner which was slightly different from the way in which the work was carried out in 1971. At the time of the census of 1971, as we are aware, all caste and subcastes were mentioned in the census figures, but at the time of the census of 1981, naturally in view of the change in our policy, what they did was that they did not enumerate all the castes but only enumerated such castes as were ordered to be enumerated, generally as had to be given some special representation under the orders issued by the President under Article 341. As we are aware, Article 341 provides that in the present circumstances, the President shall determine the scheduled caste and the scheduled tribes to whom for a period of 10 years a special representation has been given, and under Article 341 sub-article 2, if at all there is to be any change in these in the list, then it is only Parliament that can make that change. At the present moment, the position is that at the time of the census of 2001, there was an order giving the list of the scheduled caste and scheduled tribes for whom a special representation was to be given. Therefore, at the time of the census of 2001, they tried to collect information only about those cases which were mentioned in that order for the purpose that they may be given the special representation on the basis. But it appears at the present moment, at the time of the actual taking of the census information. Certain people mentioned their caste a little incorrectly. For instance, if a person belonged to some subcaste at the time of mentioning it to the enumerator, he gave it as Harijan. Now, Harijan is neither a caste nor is it recognized. So, probably at the time of the census of 2001, such people were omitted, though they really belonged to the castes enumerated in the order. Similarly, there were certain synonyms of caste, and in that case, also people of the same caste for whom the protection was intended on account of their giving the wrong description to the enumerator in respect of the name to which they did not exactly belong, they were also excluded. Therefore, in the 1951 census register, which was prepared on the basis of the information thus supplied, certain castes were omitted. After the passing of the bill, as we are aware, under Article 81 of the Constitution, the membership has to bear a certain proportion to the figures of population of the last census. It was, however, found as, for instance, in the case of Andhra Pradesh, though there is a general increase in the population as a whole, there was a decrease in the population of the scheduled caste and the scheduled tribes. This was so glaring that it was brought to the notice of the authorities concerned, and the census authorities there, from whatever information they had, corrected these figures, because in respect of these they had certain slips or certain other papers giving the information from which they could get the correct figures that could be corrected, because the final delimitation orders were not passed at that time. So, in respect of Andhra Pradesh and Gujarat, where the final order was not passed, the census authorities corrected these figures, and the delimitation commission took that into account, and they did their work. But it was found in respect of certain other states also that such corrections were made, but the delimitation orders were not passed. Therefore, we first intended to bring forward or introduce a bill in the Lok Sabha only in respect of those states where the delimitation commission had not passed its final orders, with the provision that if the census authorities were to make a change in respect of the figure of population of the scheduled caste and scheduled tribes, then they could in their final orders take these figures into consideration and delimit the constituencies on that basis. However, when the bill was introduced, it was brought to the notice of the government that in many of the states final orders had been actually passed by the delimitation authorities, and it was therefore necessary in order that there should be uniformity in the principles followed in respect of this matter, that there should be some provision brought in spite of the fact that final orders are passed by delimitation commission that could be reopened, but only for this limited purpose. Wherever the census authorities has to correct these figures and place in it on a proper basis, the delimitation authorities should in that case reopen that matter and determine the matter on the basis provided by the census authorities. Therefore, the scope of the bill to that extent was widened. The bill which is now before the House is in this form. So far as the delimitation of constituencies is concerned, whether it is Andhra Pradesh or Gujarat, or whether in respect of other states, the delimitation commission will be authorized to reopen these matters if the census authorities had to change the figure of population. Therefore, the bill before the House is a very simple one to that extent. It only enables the delimitation commission to take into account the corrections which may be made by the census authorities. It is primarily the census authorities who are to do it now. Stop.